he's been a big key to our success. He's doing a really good job of not only running our basketball team, but also defensively. He's very disruptive. If you look at our league numbers, which really truthfully, that's all I study now. I don't study the overall because it's how you're playing now, and it's pretty indicative of league play. He's got 13 steals too. He's leading our team in that. He's almost got a 2-to-1 assist turnover ratio. Um, and so he's doing a really good job of getting our team organized and on offense and getting the ball to the right people's hands at the right times. And defensively, he's making some things happen. Struggled a little bit Saturday defensively. It was a very physical game. As you know, with Mike's teams, they screen really physical. And so he got behind the play a lot. And so we went with a little bit bigger lineup later in the game. But to his credit, he's really played well, and he's been a really good teammate.
Thank you.
Go next to Cam Lemons. Go ahead, Cam.
Hey, Steve, I guess second obvious question for you. What did you see out of Omaha in some of his minutes? I know you mentioned during the post game he rolled his ankle. What's kind of an update on him?
Yeah, Omaha's out for probably 7 to 10 days. He sprained his ankle in the game, unrelated to his foot injury. Everything's fine with as far as the construction of what happened to his foot and the surgery thereafter, 2 surgeries afterwards. Just very unfortunate, bad luck. I shot that first 3. I thought it was going in. It was a good ball. If you look at his numbers and I've got all the analytics that anybody could have on every lineup that we've had. But when he's in the game, defensively, we're pretty good. I mean, I'm trying to find him here. I don't know, I can't see it, but I think it's really, it's drastically low when he's in the game defensively. Just hasn't had a lot of possessions this year. So, I think I was happy to get him in there. It was more just, him getting his feet under him. He hasn't played, but, he'll play more and more. When he's on the court defensively, the points per possession is like 0.86. And so that's pretty low because we're about 0.97. So he affects the game pretty effectively on defense. But unfortunately, he's going to be out for a little bit, but we'll hope to get him back here soon.
Go to Kip Coons.
Yeah, hi, Steve. You have an interesting week ahead of you, home games with North Carolina and Duke, and it shapes up to be kind of a pivotal week for you, especially local bragging rights, but the conference race and where you guys are positioned. How do you approach this week?
Well, Kip, I've always approached it one game at a time. I think some teams are different than others. Can they handle that? They let things creep into their mind that doesn't really have any bearing on the game in front of them. I think, this team is really, really locked in. I said that after the game against Virginia Tech. I could tell going into the game that we were going to play well just by their approach. I think it'd be the same thing on Tuesday against Carolina. One of the advantages of having a national holiday today is we've had a little more prep time because we don't have class. And so we were able to go in the morning a little bit, and we'll go in the afternoon. And so we'll be able to go tomorrow a little bit before we play on a quicker turnaround. And so I think they're just going to handle it like we handle it as a staff. Is just what's the next game in front of them. And every game is big now. Every game's big for everybody in the country. Nothing's been decided at any level. And so we just have to continue to play at the level that we're playing and maybe play better, hopefully play better and finish this thing out.
You do have to like the fact that both these games are on your floor, though.
Of course, you always want to play, if you want to give a choice, play at home. We've turned the Joel into a very hard place to play. That's a credit to our players and our fans. I don't know what our record is. I know it's out there somewhere. It's pretty good, the last 4 years in this building. But I always tell them about this. I always tell them it's not the crowd's job to get you going. It's your job to get the crowd going. And sometimes I think teams relax when they play at home, thinking that it's just going to be that way, and it's not. And so, it'd be our responsibility on Tuesday to get the crowd going, to have a great atmosphere by the way we play.
David Teal.
Steve, when did you first dive headfirst into analytics? And do you have someone on your staff assigned to almost strictly that's your job?
I don't know if I've ever dove into it, Dave, because I'm not a huge fan of it, but I have to know it. I'm just trying to win by 1 point. I know that doesn't do well with analytics and the net and the KPI and the BPI. I mean, there's so many T-Rex, I don't know. There's so many things that you have to be aware of, or people want to be aware of. I don't have time for it. Yeah, my staff looks heavily at that stuff as they prepare their scouting reports. Matt Woodley and BJ Mackey are on the defensive side of it. Coach Shea, Jason Shea, and Thomas Kavalauskas on the offensive side of it. I'm sure they look at that stuff. I get an HDI report for every game. I get one after the game. I get one on the lineups, what worked, what didn't work lineup wise, plus minus, what's the points per possession when you're on the court versus off the court, on and on and on. It's it can be straight overkill too, because there's still the human side of coaching and the intangibles and what you bring to the table as a player. Just because you can read a stat sheet, an analytical sheet, or talk about it doesn't mean you can coach it. And so there's a lot of things involved. That's one of them, but it's not the only thing.
For decades, it seems that Carolina has been such a big man centric program, and it's startling to look at the numbers now and see how they struggle to rebound the ball. I mean, how different is this Carolina team to prepare for as some earlier teams that you competed against?
Well, I go way back to when I was at Tennessee when they had Hansborough and Brandon Wright. When I first came in the league, Baycoat was probably a freshman, and they had Walker Kessler. They had some other big kid that went to the NBA right away. I can't remember his name. I've been so used to seeing Baycoat there. It's a little different for us to see that, but you have to concentrate on what they're really good at, and that's transition. They're obscene, the numbers they're scoring in transition. 49% of their offense is in transition. I think they're fourth in the country according to our analytics. 1.27 points per possession in transition is devastating. They scored 21 points a game in the league play in transition, and then they're a good defensive team. I mean, they're outstanding half-court defensive team, and they're only giving up 0.87 in the half court. And so I think you got to concentrate more on that. Not that, Washington or Van Lubin, those guys can't play. They can. But their strength is in their guards. And they have not only good ones, they have outstanding guards.
I've got time for one more question from Connor O'Neill.
Steve, your ACC only 3-point percentage is like 35%, which is obviously a lot different than non-con. Has that improved based on Tyler being in the lineup? Is it taking less of them? Is it better shot quality on the ones they're taking? What's gone into the improvement there?
Well, that was A, B, and C. I would give you D, all the above. Yeah, I think Ty being in there really helps. I think the shot quality really helps. We haven't taken a ton of them. We take them when we need to, not just running down there and jacking them up. And so those things, now I think we can still get better, and we will. I still think we can have better movement, better spacing. Every team gives you a different kind of look defensively, so you have to figure it out as the game goes along. But you know, look, I told you in the fall we were fast, and I thought we could play fast and shoot threes, and we came out and played fast, missed threes, and turned it over. And so that's not a very good recipe for success. So we had to reevaluate who we were and how we played. And to their credit, you know, they've changed, and we'll continue on this path of winning basketball.
Steve, thank you. Appreciate it. We'll see you
Thank you.
next week.
All right, look forward to it.
All right, next up, we've got Mark Madsen from Cal. If you have a
Morning,
question
guys.
for Mark, good morning. If you got a question for Mark, go ahead and use the raise hand tool. If you